Why is it that throughout all the vast lore, there is only one specific entity that Thrawn ever appears to have any fear for? In a galaxy populated with extremely deadly enemies and allies alike in the forms of Sidious, Vader, and the Empire, it is only the Bendu, the one in the middle, that truly shakes Thrawn to his very core. In Season 3 of Star Wars Rebels, we can see this, as Thrawn and the Bendu meet for the first and supposedly final time. After Thrawn believes that he has defeated the Bendu and approaches it, he inquires about what the Bendu is and what it commands, believing initially to what the Bendu did with the Force Storm to be simply a Jedi trick. Thrawn understood this, or at least he thought he did. When Thrawn approaches the Bendu and inquires exactly what it is, the Bendu offers him no explanation. The Bendu only predicts Thrawn's defeat at the hand of the Ghost crew, giving him no explanation of who or what it is. In a rare moment of anger for Grand Admiral Thrawn, Thrawn shoots the Bendu in the head, but to his utter shock and surprise, the creature disappears, laughing at him through the Force. The final fateful words of the creature echoing in Thrawn's mind. You cannot see, but I can see. I can see your defeat, like many arms surrounding you in a cold embrace. This is the prophecy concerning Thrawn's defeat above Lothal, when Jedi Knight Ezra Bridger sacrificed himself to bring the Purrgil to him, and then jump Thrawn and Ezra as a result into another galaxy entirely, which of course is the big plotline for the Ahsoka series. But what about the relationship between Thrawn and the Bendu is so unique, and why out of everything in the galaxy, Thrawn holds an especial amount of fear for this creature? To answer this, we have to look at the character of Grand Admiral Thrawn and the things that he values most. Thrawn values uniformity and order. He believes in fairness, and above everything else, Thrawn believes in his own intelligence. But what is intelligence exactly but the ability to understand? Thrawn's greatest weapon is his ability to understand an enemy, to analyze their art and understand what they will do because of it, analyze his enemies, learn them, and adapt to them. This is Thrawn's greatest strength. It is the thing that has won him countless victories, and his intelligence and understanding of concepts is also what has protected him for so long. Thrawn's ability to understand these concepts has kept him and his people safe for a very long time. He analyzed the Republic when he teamed up with Anakin Skywalker, seeing the tumultuous nature of the galaxy at large, deciding at the time not to join with the Republic because it was unorganized and a civil war had broken out. Later though, he ultimately decided to join the Empire and Palpatine, the greatest evil in the galaxy, for the simple reason because he understood Palpatine and what he wanted. He understood just how powerful Sidious was, but he also knew that if he could understand Sidious's goals, he could keep himself and his people safe. He understood that above all else, he wanted power, a concept that Thrawn could comprehend and get behind. And because of that, he granted the Emperor more power and worked diligently by his side. He then looked at Lord Vader. Lord Vader wanted vengeance. Above anything else, Lord Vader was motivated by results and controlling the ability to utterly destroy any of those that came against him, especially the Jedi or those who stood against the Empire. Vader was motivated by anger. Sidious was motivated by power. The rebels that Thrawn fought against were motivated by freedom and justice. Thrawn saw that the Imperials that he surrounded himself with were motivated by greed. To take things even further, Thrawn even understood the Jedi Order. He knew at once that they were motivated by peace, but now that they too were motivated by rebellion in an effort to restore that peace that they once held so dearly. Thrawn is constantly surrounded by things that he can understand, and because he can comprehend them, he can control them and counteract against it. He spends weeks analyzing his enemies for this simple fact. So then, the reason why Thrawn would hold such fear for the Bendu now begins to come to light. The Bendu represents a part of the Star Wars mythos that Thrawn is unable to, and at the end, unwilling to understand completely. In my opinion, Thrawn's true defeat is at the hands of the Bendu, but it is not a defeat of the physical world. It is a defeat of Thrawn's very mind, the location where he is the strongest. As we stated, when the Bendu transforms into a Force Storm and attacks Thrawn and the Imperials, he views this as a Jedi trick, something that he can understand. He understands that they are motivated to defeat him, knowing their ultimate goal. But once the Bendu is shot down and Thrawn and his forces approach him, he understands that he does not completely grasp the situation. In a completely genuine moment, Thrawn decides to ask the Bendu who he is, as in a rare moment, Thrawn realizes he knows nothing of the creature that is laid before him. All that he truly knows is that the Bendu, when destroying the Imperials, stated that it was the light and the dark, the Bendu. The reason in this moment the Bendu's Force Storm was able to defeat Thrawn was because Thrawn was confronted with something completely unforeseen. He had no plans in place at all to counteract the Bendu, and he had no way to anticipate it would have arrived and aided the rebels' crew. The greatest weakness to Thrawn is the factor that he cannot anticipate nor control. His greatest fear is being confronted with the situation, or in this case, an entity that he knows nothing about. But it goes far deeper than even this. When Thrawn approaches the Bendu, he asks almost reverently, "What manner of creature are you?" Genuinely curious about what the Bendu is, eager to learn anything about this unforeseen threat. The Bendu, though, simply responds with, "One beyond your power to destroy." Thrawn almost scoffs as he points his blaster directly at the Bendu. The Bendu again tells Thrawn that he cannot see, but that he can. Thrawn is afraid. The Force is something that is impossible to calculate. It is impossible to predict. And for Thrawn, it is impossible to understand in this moment, especially where the Bendu lies. Unlike the Jedi and the Sith, who use the Force for their own goals, the Bendu is in the middle. It uses the Force, and is the Force, because that is what it is. And when the Bendu predicts Thrawn's defeat, he is overcome with an extremely rare moment of rage. Thrawn realizes that the Bendu is absolutely correct. He is beyond the power that Thrawn can comprehend, at least in this moment. And Thrawn, as a result, lets his ego and his rage take over, aiming his blaster at the Bendu and firing, killing the creature. Or so Thrawn thought. In the greatest insult that Thrawn has ever experienced, he now understands that he does not even grasp the concept of life and death, victory or defeat. The Bendu disappears, laughs, joins the Force as it always belonged. Nothing has changed for the Bendu. It is still there. It will always be there. This very thought shakes Thrawn to his very core. The creature was right. It is beyond his power to destroy. It is beyond his own power to even comprehend and predict. What's important to understand about this moment is when the Bendu disappears, it is still very much alive and does not disappear into the Force within death. It does not join with the Force in a manner of Obi-Wan Kenobi or others who pass on through the Force. This is not the first time that the Bendu has vanished into thin air. What the Bendu said was right. Thrawn does not command the power necessary to destroy it. And the lesson for all of this, the moment that Thrawn is the most afraid, the creature that strikes utter terror into the Grand Admiral, is a simple fact. For all of Thrawn's genius, for all the knowledge that he commands, he can never truly comprehend the Force, especially as the Bendu comprehends. Thrawn struggles to comprehend, predict, define, or understand the Force. It is something that genuinely chills him to his core. Many other high-ranking officers would have simply mocked the Bendu or laughed it off as superstition. But Thrawn is intelligent enough to know better. He knows what the Bendu has told him about his prophecy is true, and that is what truly frightens him. But I will be interested to see Thrawn's progression in the Ahsoka series, if this moment truly defined him as a character as I believe that it did, and if the Bendu and his impact has anything yet to reveal to us in the lore. As always, my friends and acolytes, thank you for visiting the archives, and as always, may the Force be with you.